The First Continental Congress was a unified body of colonial delegates that met in September 1774 to determine the colonial response to Parliament's passage of the Intolerable Acts. After the Boston Tea Party in December of 1773, Parliament and King George decided they needed to take drastic measures to punish the colonists for destroying the tea belonging to the British East Indies Company. They passed a series of laws in March of 1774 called the Coercive Acts. The colonists of Massachusetts were outraged and dubbed the laws the Intolerable Acts. To the surprise of Parliament, colonists in the other 12 British colonies banded together in support of Massachusetts. The clearest manifestation of this support was the formation of the First Continental Congress. In September of 1774, representatives from 12 of the 13 colonies met in Philadelphia at Carpenter's Hall. Georgia, which was under threat of attack by Native Americans on their southern and western borders, did not send representatives because they did not want to anger the British regulars or army troops who were helping them repel the Indian raids. Altogether, 56 delegates met in Philadelphia, including some of the men who would go on to become the founding fathers of the United States. They included Samuel Adams, the founder of the Sons of Liberty; Patrick Henry, whose famous words, "Give me liberty or give me death," would convince many to join the patriotic cause; Roger Sherman, the great compromiser, who we will learn more about when we study the Constitutional Convention; John Adams, the Boston lawyer who would defend the British soldiers of the Boston Massacre and later become the nation's first vice president and second president; and George Washington, the hero of the American Revolution and the future first president of the United States of America. Among the issues addressed by the First Continental Congress was how to show a united front to Great Britain, how to communicate collective grievances to the king, and how to keep all the colonies informed about what was going on. As a result, the First Continental Congress drafted the Declaration and Resolves, which outlined the principles common to all colonies. The Declaration and Resolves states that inhabitants of the colonies were entitled not only to the basic rights of life, liberty, and property, but indeed to all the rights of full English citizens. The delegates of the First Continental Congress also wrote a petition of grievances to King George. This was delivered by none other than Benjamin Franklin. The men of the First Continental Congress agreed that if the king and Parliament did not respond, they would meet again in 1775. The First Continental Congress was successful in stirring up common sentiment among the 13 colonies. For example, the colonies agreed to a widespread boycott of British goods, while they waited for King George and Parliament to respond to their grievances. Unlike in the days of the French and Indian War, the colonies were finally seeing the wisdom of uniting and working together for a cause. And while the First Continental Congress was not a true governing body, it provided a model for the future, and it planted the seeds of democracy.